Hello and welcome to beautiful, bustling Tokyo. This is the opening ceremony, the Tokyo 2020 Summer Paralympic Games, on a beautiful, warm, almost sultry evening here in Tokyo. 16 days after a stunning Olympic closing ceremony, Tokyo becomes the first city to stage a second Paralympic Games, having hosted them in 1964. It was at those games that the term Paralympic was first used in association with this wonderful event. Tonight, all bar a few of the national Paralympic delegations will parade into this magnificent stadium here in the heart of Tokyo, ahead of a dozen days of world-class sporting action. These are, of course, extraordinary games taking place in extraordinary times for the whole world. The global coronavirus pandemic has affected every single person on this planet, impacting the world's 1.2 billion persons with disabilities and impairments disproportionately. So these Paralympic Games will showcase the strength and diversity of the human spirit, highlighting that out of adversity must always come hope. Tonight's opening ceremony will set the tone in that regard, with a show packed with symbolic messages of inclusivity and exceptional ability, courage and inspiration. And there will be no shortage of emotion.
It feels like something really special is going to be happening here tonight. There's going to be a real connection, and the anticipation is tangible in Tokyo. All those pre-games fears can be left behind now, because here we are in this glorious new stadium where it's a warm 29 Celsius and just this 68% humidity. And I don't know about anyone else, but I'm feeling the nervous excitement, waiting for the show to get going, because in the long 5 years since this Summer Paralympics family last got together, the world has changed in all those unforeseeable ways. It's been scary, there's been grief and loss, we've all been kept away from so much of what we love. But para-athletes move forward after setbacks, and now we're set to start the competition. And if the Paralympic Games are new to you, then welcome. You're in for a treat, even before we get to the elite sporting action. Coming up in the next few hours, I can promise you a joyous, spine-tingling, colourful opening ceremony. There'll be fireworks, of course, incredible dancing, magnificent music, and a cast of performers you will fall in love with. It's going to be emotional. And before they take centre stage in the sporting arenas, our soon-to-be fully-fledged Paralympians will be coming together at last and taking a front row seat to watch a brilliant show. And Rob, you know firsthand what it's like backstage, what it's like to join the parade of athletes.
Well, it's that feeling of anticipation. It's that feeling of maybe meeting old friends, making new friends, with that little bit of nervous energy that tomorrow or the next day or the day after, the event that you've been planning for, working for, training for, is right there. It's right about to happen. All of your dreams are close to being fulfilled, and you know that energy. And then also you want to, part of you as an athlete wants to enjoy the show as well, and so there's that juxtaposition as well, with anticipation of the night, the event, and anticipation of the competition that will soon follow.
Well, tonight's ceremony is very much about movement, and as you've both alluded to, emotion. The artistic element of the show is entitled We Have Wings, and we're looking forward to a really special story there. But the opening ceremonies, and we've seen many fantastic, spectacular, huge, colourful ceremonies. This might be a bit different tonight.
Well, the executive producer of ceremonies for both the Olympic and Paralympic Games, Hiyoki Takeyuki, said opening ceremonies in the past have been a grand celebration, spectacular. But rather than those, we've created something with a strong message that will resonate with the audience. It's more about the emotional connection than the excitement.
We've had a sneak preview, and I ran out of tissues because I was tearing up so much. The performers that we're going to see tonight all have such incredible stories. It's impossible to tell all of them tonight, but we'll do our very best. But I do guarantee, if you sit tight, you're going to enjoy an absolutely magnificent show.
Yeah, so much of what you see tonight will resonate with you, I'm sure, on some level or another. The setting here tonight is very familiar setting for many, I'm sure. But slightly different. The artistic element of it said is we have wings, but it's set in that environment of constant, ever-changing movement, where people move through all the time. It's an airport, but not quite the likes of which we are used to seeing. It's going to be an extraordinary story, a beautiful story as well.
It's going to be a story about how we need to create our own energy, our own wind to lift us up, to fly and achieve our dreams, and it's going to be beautifully told.
A little bit about the theme as well. It'll be a moving forward theme. The ceremony organizers acknowledging the way the world has come together since early in 2020 to face the global threat that we all know about, while recognizing their gratitude to those who made Tokyo 2020 possible.
Well, it's been an amazing build-up to this Summer Paralympic Games. The Olympic Games hosted here. Remember, Tokyo, the first city to host both games twice, 1964, 57 years ago. And a very different games we're in for here in this absolutely stunning city. Really has been a wonderful host.
The one thing that will have changed, though, is that our athletes have got stronger, they've got faster, they train harder, they work harder, and some of them professional full-time athletes virtually with what they do. The quality of the competition that we're going to see will be the best ever here in Tokyo.
And the stories behind those athletes are just the subplot to what is going to be an incredible journey over the next 12 days of the Games. And look out for those and listen to those, because they are truly inspirational and extraordinary.
We can't wait to get to start to telling them in just a few minutes. And, you know, Paralympic athletes know that, and you're going to hear this tonight, no matter which way the wind blows, it can be harnessed to move forward. And so I think that's a special theme as well. And there's a little bit more wind blowing in the stadium tonight. I don't know if you noticed, than we felt the other night. So winds of change coming in with the opening ceremony of the Paralympic Games.
One thing you want to keep an eye out, the number 3 is going to be appearing quite a lot in tonight's show, but also We the 15, you'll hear more about that in coming days. The colour purple is part of a campaign to become the biggest ever human rights movement to represent the world's 1.2 billion persons with disabilities. That's 15% of people on this planet, so stay tuned for more on that.
Yes, you may have noticed any of the iconic landmarks in your city about the colour purple. One of those landmarks might have been lit up a couple of days ago, and that was all the launch of hashtag We Are 15. Well, we are not quite 15 seconds away, but we're very close to the opening ceremony of the Tokyo 2020 Summer Paralympic Games in this beautiful stadium. What awaits on a warm, almost sultry night in Tokyo, an invitation, I think, to celebrate, to join it all, the physical resilience and mental fortitude and creative genius of humanity, not just here tonight, but over the next 12 days. But tonight, be prepared to be entertained. It is going to be exceptional. It'll set the tone through color, visually stimulating performances, and wonderfully creative art for the Paralympic Games. Welcome to the Para Airport. Enjoy with us the opening ceremony of the 2020 Tokyo Summer Paralympic Games. Japan, His Majesty Emperor Naruhito, and Andrew Parsons, International Paralympic President.
ご着席ください。
Ladies and gentlemen, the national flag of Japan.
日本国旗の入場です。
The flag is carried by
日本国旗を運びますのは
three-time Paralympic champion, ice sledge speed racing,
アイススレッジスピードレースパラリンピック金メダリスト
Miki Matheson,
マセソン・ミキさん。
four-time Paralympic champion, athletics,
陸上パラリンピック4大会連続金メダリスト
Ozaki Mineho,
尾崎峰穂さん。
badminton,
バドミントン
Imai Taiyo,
今井太陽さん。
athletics,
陸上
Yuguchi Erina,
湯口絵里奈さん。
four-time Olympic champion, wrestling,
レスリングオリンピック4大会連続金メダリスト
Icho Kaori,
伊調香織さん。
rescue worker,
救急隊員
Asatani Takumi,
浅谷拓さん。
And the flag is preceded by 4 youngsters from local special needs schools here in Tokyo.
Yeah, these schools that have been selected are either Tokyo Metropolitan Special Needs Education Schools or junior high schools that have been or are planning to collaborate with these schools in the future.
All champions in their own right, and I love that the rescue worker Asatani Takumi is in the mix as well.
It's a moment of expressing gratitude to those who care and help on the front line. Beautiful rendition of House of Wind, a piano and orchestra version composed by Tsugi Nobuyuki.
Such an honour to be carrying your national flag at a Games, and you can see the pride oozing out.
And they will now hand the flag over to members of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Eastern Army, Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, members of the Japan Air Self-Defense Fleet, as well as members of the Air Defense Command. Solemn but highly significant moment in tonight's opening ceremony.
Please stand for the national anthem of Japan. The flag will be raised by the representatives of the Japan Self-Defense Forces.
日本国歌の演奏です。可能な方はご起立ください。
It'll be sung
日
here,
本国旗の掲揚は自衛隊の代表により行われます。
sung here tonight by Sato Hirari. Stunning arrangement by Takebi
ご着
Satoshi.
席ください。
Well, the cherry blossom plays such a big part in Japanese art, even in the dress there. And like so many of the performers tonight, she was one of those who auditioned and got a part in tonight's performance.
Welcome to the Para Airport. The inner workings of the Para Airport are exposed.
And this is probably going to need just a little bit of explanation, because these are the moving parts of the Para Airport, the machinery that we need to generate the wind to help the planes of the Para Airport fly. We've got pumps and switches and levers, and they're all inside a karakuri. Now, this is a traditional Japanese puppet that appears to move on its own, and we're looking at the inner workings here. You'll see the cast members coming on as springs and screws, levers and cogs, and they're all trying to generate the momentum we need to create flight later in the show. And it was a limited number of performers who were chosen. Just 75 out of more than 5,500.
They all auditioned. And this is their night.
So now we see the ball bearings, fundamental to the movement of much machinery.
And it's all this movement that will create the wind that will be required to take flight.
Taking their inspiration from ropes, these cast members doing the double Dutch, and with a wheelchair too. That's former ice sledge hockey player Daisuke Yuhara. Also came through the audition process.
He was a great player. I remember him well.
Still moving well.
significance in the colour of those ball bearings as well. Blue, red and green, the colour of the Agitos.
Now we've got all the screws and the levers in position, we need a little bit of momentum. We're looking at Kamimoto Iri. She's the world champion of pole dancing. Born with a hearing impairment, but wow.
And these huge balloons in the colours of the Paralympics, red, blue and green, the arrival of the Agitos.
Something stirring, the wind is coming.
It is blown in. Just under 11 metres long, 5.3 metres. And Agitos, of course, means I move. And they're moving beautifully.
Coming together to form the symbol of the Paralympic Games. And another spectacular round of fireworks illuminates the sky above Tokyo. The winds of change are coming.
They're blowing in very welcome guests to Tokyo.
In just a few moments, athletes from all over the world will be arriving at the National Stadium. They will inspire and carry us into a brighter future filled with compassion for one another. Passengers, we are now ready to open the gates and for the winds of change. Would all passengers please prepare for the much anticipated arrival.
It is the arrivals hall and the moment these athletes have been preparing for. DJ Seho will welcome them to the arrivals hall. It becomes a bit of a lounge as they arrive in here because they are going to have an absolutely wonderful time coming into the stadium.
Refugee Paralympic team!
難民選手団
For the second time, a team representing the more than 82 million people forced to flee away from the war and human rights
アイスランド
abuses. And there are 5 women in the Iceland team, just 1 in the refugee team. Iceland, led by Thelma Björk-Björnsdóttir and Patrick Alexson. He's a visually impaired athlete who'll compete in the 400 meters T11. His father, a real inspiration to his ambitions in the Paralympics.
Now Ireland can boast the fastest Paralympian on the planet in Jason Smith. He's unbeaten in more than a decade of sprinting in para-athletics. He's looking for a 6th gold medal. But the flag's being carried by Brittany Arendis, who's a powerlifter, and we've got Jordan Lee, an athlete as well, in competition, the Irish. A lovely deep bow there to on.
36 athletes from Azerbaijan. The flag bearer Olakam Mosayev won gold in shot put in Beijing, competing in his 4th Paralympic Games. The team won 11 medals in Rio, including gold for judoka Ramil Gasimov. Country of 10 million in southwestern Asia, north of Iran on the Caspian Sea, Azerbaijan. Welcome to Tokyo.
Afghanistan.
Sadly, there are 2 athletes not able to travel to Tokyo to take part in these games, but they will be celebrated here tonight.
United Arab Emirates!
7 medals in Rio for the United Arab Emirates, a total of 19 now since they made their Paralympic debut in 1992. The flag bearers, Aisha El Maheri from shooting, and Mohammed Al Mahdi, a 3-time world champion and 3-time Paralympic medalist from athletics.
Now Algeria have won 73 Paralympic medals, but they've all come in either athletics or judo. This time, the team also contesting goalball, powerlifting, and the wheelchair basketball. Spectacular national costumes.
Just the most amazing time for these athletes. The biggest Spanish-speaking country in the world and the 2nd biggest country in South America. And their flag bearers, Yanina Martinez, the only gold medalist from 2016 in Rio. And 44-year-old Rodolfo Ramirez, who lost his eyesight at 9. He's taking part in his 7th games, hoping to add the silver to the medal he won in Atlanta and Beijing. They have good memories from Tokyo. It was their first Paralympics in 1964. They ended with 37 medals.
This is the 2nd time Aruba has competed in the Paralympic Games. Rio the first, just 1 athlete in Tokyo. There he is, Elliot Andre Lunstra, the flag bearer who will compete in Taekwondo, which makes its Paralympic debut. Aruba, beautiful Caribbean island, 100,000 people.
Armenia!
Just the one representative from Armenia as well. Let me introduce Stas Nazarian. He gets to carry his Paralympic flag for the second games in a row because he competed in the 2018 Winter Paralympics and he really wants that first medal for Armenia.
Angola has won 8 medals all time, all by sprinter Jose Armando Sayoivo. This time the flag bearer from athletics is 1500 meter runner Manuel Ernesto Jaime. Just 2 athletes in Tokyo for Angola. Beautiful costumes, wow.
Well, welcome back, Yemen. Their second Paralympics. It's been a while. They first competed in Barcelona in 1992. They've been given wildcards by the International Paralympic Committee, and most of the stadia in the country have been destroyed by war, but they will be competing.
Physiotherapist Moran Samuel, who won bronze in rowing in Rio. Her son Arad was born in 2016 and her daughter Rom born in 2019. And the other flag bearer is bocce athlete Nadav Levy in his second games. He's a computer programmer and developer. One of the original 10 nations, they competed in every Paralympic since 1960.
You may recognize the rising phoenix, Bebe Vio, jointly carrying the flag with Federico Molacchi, the 200 meters freestyle champion from Rio. Of course, Rising Phoenix, BBVO, great documentary on the Paralympics. If you haven't seen it, she'll be defending her title in the foil wheelchair fencing. And Italy, one of the 12 countries to have attended every Paralympic Games.
And they had great success in this very stadium just 2 or 3 weeks ago, didn't they?
They're hoping it's going to carry on. Hosted the first Paralympic Games in 1960, and a big contingent from Italy.
And many of these athletes will be competing tomorrow. But they wouldn't want to miss out on this. Well, one of the youngest athletes at the Games, 14-year-old Fatima Suaid, will compete in the 100 and 400 meters F35. She's a flag bearer alongside shot put gold medalist in Rio, Gara Tanaish. They won 2 golds in Rio. That was Koran Abdulrahim, who won the men's javelin F41. We've got a women's goalball team and 8 women in the various divisions of the powerlifting.
The sports world lost a legend last year when 2-time Paralympic powerlifting champion Saman Rahman, a hero in Iran, died at just age 31. In Rio, he became the first Paralympian ever to lift over 300 kilograms, almost 3 times his body weight. He was indeed a hero, and he is very missed by this team. The flag bearers, Zahra Samat, looking for her 3rd straight gold medal in archery, and Noor Mohammed Areki from athletics on the hunt for his 1st medal. They're also very, very strong in sitting volleyball. They have made the final 8 consecutive games.
India had a great Games in 2016. They won multiple gold medals for the first time, and they're sending their biggest ever contingent to Tokyo, 54 of whom will be competing. A new addition to the schedule, badminton, of course. Archery, athletics, swimming, weightlifting, all being competed by the Indian athletes.
270 million people in Indonesia, spread out over 17,000 islands. Flag bearers Hanak Puji Hastuti from shooting and Janelle Arapan from athletics, both competing in their first Paralympic Games.
Landlocked East African country, independent in 1962. They have 4 athletes. David Imong is their only medalist. He won silver in the men's 1500 meters T45-46 in Rio, looking to repeat again here in Tokyo.
More than one reason to celebrate for these athletes, big para-athletes, because it's Ukrainian Independence Day today. Since 1996, they flourished as an independent nation, finished third in the medal table in Rio, and have won more gold medals than any other former Soviet country apart from Russia. Full tally, 67 gold, 69 silver, and 92 bronze.
They are very strong across the board in many sports.
I'm just delighted to be here. Wonderful.
Carrying the flag, Yezelteva Mereshko. She's going to be looking to beat her hero Ellie Simmonds again, who we're going to see very shortly for the British team. Big competition between those two.
Wonderful Ukrainian traditional clothing.
Well, they had one medal in 3 games prior to Rio, and they burst into life in Rio. 31 medals 5 years ago in athletics, judo and swimming. They got golds and 6 silver and 17 bronze. Nurkon Kubanov will be in the shot put, discus and javelin. And Muhammad Riksamov, a student at Bukhara University, will take part in the shot put F63. 47 athletes in 11 different sports. High hopes in judo. They've got 12 competitors there.
2 athletes competing in Tokyo from Uruguay, both the flag bearers, swimmer Lucia Dalazis, who's also working on her engineering degree, and from judo, Henry Borges, a 5-time Paralympian. He and his wife, who also competes in judo, hope to set up a para-judo academy in Uruguay.
And we have 2 para-athletes here, or 2 Paralympians, I should say, who are here for their 4th games. Ellie Simmonds, a 5-time Paralympic champion, and John Stubbs, at the age of 56, the oldest member of the team. He'll be competing in the individual compound archery. Ellie Simmonds in the pool, of course.
8 athletes from Ecuador, all in athletics, at a wonderful moment in Tokyo when Naisei Dajomas won gold in Olympic weightlifting, first Ecuadorian woman ever to win Olympic gold. Flag bearers are Kiera Rodriguez, long jump world champion, and Darwin Castro Reyes, also from athletics. He's a middle distance runner.
DJ Seho in full flight as the Egyptians come out, Africa's 2nd most successful Paralympic nation behind South Africa. Very consistent. They've won at least a gold at every game since 1976. And they've got the amazing table tennis star Ibrahim Hamatu. Holds the paddle in his mouth and tosses the ball in the air to serve with his foot. He is quite extraordinary. "49 golds, 22 of those have come in powerlifting, and they'll have 8 athletes in powerlifting here."
Estonian swimmer Kardo Plumampuu will be competing in his 5th Paralympic Games. He was a bronze medalist in Beijing in 2008. The flag bearer is swimmer Robin Liksor. The most famous Estonian Olympic athlete is probably Erkki Newell, who won gold in the decathlon in Sydney in 2000. The Paralympians will look to get their share of the fame here in Tokyo. And there is Robin Liksor.
Well, the Horn of Africa nation has a cultural history dating back more than 3 million years. But this is their 8th appearance at the Games, just 1 medal. And it was in 2012.
The Russian Paralympic Committee walking under a neutral flag. You'll see them wearing neutral uniforms with a special RPC emblem showing these para-athletes. And you notice on the floor there the colours of the flags. They're being blown around by the wind of change. We'll see that a little later on as well as the Russian Paralympic Committee walk in, smiling and waving, ready to compete. Gold medalists will hear Peter Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto No. 1, but not all 23 minutes of it, I suspect.
big delegation from the Russian Paralympic Committee. Of course, hosted the Winter Games in Sochi just a few years ago, both Olympic and Paralympic.
Well, since making their debut in 2000, El Salvador sent one athlete to every edition of the Paralympic Games, apart from in 2004, when it sent two. And this is Herbert Aceituno, carried the flag in Rio when he was here on his there on his own. He's back with friends, though. Norma Salinas, also carrying the flag.
And carrying the flag for Australia, Dani Di Toro in her 7th Games. The captaincy is a visceral and daily reminder of something more than your own performance, she said, and she's carrying it alongside Riley Batt, who'll be hoping for a 3rd consecutive gold in wheelchair rugby.
He is amazing.
Well, Austria's competed at every edition of the Paralympic Games. Athletics and table tennis in the past have proved strong. They've won one gold. They did win one gold in table tennis at every edition of the Games between 1960 and 1996, but it's been a little bit quieter since. Natalia Eider is one of the flag bearers. She'll be competing in the shot put. So we've got Gunther Matzinger, triathlete. He won gold in London on the track.
Iman Taysir Sarbak will be the first woman to represent her nation, Oman, at the Paralympic Games. She'll compete in women's shot put in this stadium. Flag bearer Mohammed Al-Mashaki from athletics as well.
You can see the names of the athletes being scrolled around the outside of the stadium, and the Netherlands, I have to mention their chef de mission. She's the Dutch legend Esther Vigeer, retired in London 2012. Tennis player, magnificent 470 match unbeaten winning streak, 7 Paralympic gold medals for the Dutch wheelchair tennis legend, and she's in charge of this lot.
And they're the favorites in women's wheelchair basketball.
Emmanuel Oku goes in the men's 72-kilogram powerlifting. He's the flag bearer here for the West African nation off the Gulf of Guinea. They've got 3 athletes competing in athletics, track cycling, and of course powerlifting.
Two athletes from Cape Verde, both in athletics. In Rio, 400-meter runner Gracilino Barbosa became the first Cape Verdean to win a Paralympic medal. Flag bearers are Kuala Naderi Pereira Semedo and Merilson Fernandez Semedo, both from athletics. Four Paralympic medals for Kazakhstan all time, including gold in Rio by swimmer Zofia Gebdolina, and silver in women's powerlifting for Roshan Koishibayeva. She is one of the 2 flag bearers. Those 2 athletes, both 50 years of age, and both are back to compete in Tokyo. Qatar, 2 athletes, 1 man, 1 woman, both in athletics, both silver medalists in shot put in Rio. Sarah Hamdi Masood and Abdulrahman Fiki, both silver medalists in shot put.
Here's a number for you. Canada have banked more than 1,000 Paralympic Games medals. And carrying the flag there, Priscilla Gagne. Initially competed in wrestling and karate, but switched to judo because she had more opportunities of competition.
And marching with the team, there she is, Stephanie Dixon, the most decorated Canadian Paralympian. She's the chef de mission of the team. Gabon, or the Gabonese Republic, is a nation of about 2 million on the west coast of Africa. And both of their athletes have spoken up about how difficult it is to compete and train with the lack of equipment, but they say they make the best of it.
Oh, just spectacular, don't they? Look, the
Beautiful.
Cameroonians. Their national language is French, but it's 25 million people speak 250 native languages. Yulam Atangana will compete in the men's sprints, and Mimozet Ngashi will compete in the powerlifting. Fatu Sane is a sprinter. She suffered a severe leg injury in a car accident at 19. 5 years later, she's a Paralympian and carrying the flag. Smallest country on mainland Africa. And this is their third appearance at the Games.
Wonderful Cambodian story from Sydney when 10 of the 11 athletes on the volleyball team were landmine victims, and they used the publicity to try to raise awareness about that serious problem. Just one Cambodian athlete in Tokyo, wheelchair racer Van Von, is the flag bearer back for his second Paralympic Games.
Well, they'll be looking to Olivera Larkovska-Bikova, who won the women's SH1 10-meter air pistol in London. The 46-year-old is back again to compete in her 5th Paralympics.
One of Guinea's 2 athletes is visually impaired sprinter Baku Dambakate, who represented France earlier in his career, says he's come back to his roots, hopes to change the outlook on disability in Guinea.
It's beginning to feel like a nightclub in here.
It is.
I just love all the colors.
On the west coast of Africa, population of 1.8 million, over 36,000 square kilometers. Their third appearance at the Paralympics. They sent 2 athletes to London and 1 to Rio, and they have 2 athletes competing here. Sailu Mama Bari in the men's 100 T11, and Kamalai da Silva Riga, the run in the women's T11 100. Six Paralympic medals from 8 games for the Mediterranean island nation. And visually impaired S12, S13 swimmer Carolina Pelendi Trio. They have a star known as the Princess of the Pool. She's won 2 golds, a silver and a bronze, and she's carrying the flag tonight. Rivals lounge is filling up.
Bags are packed.
Already delivered to the Paralympic Village.
Yes. Omara Duran was a star for Cuba in Rio, sweeping the 100, 200, and 400 meter races for T12 visually impaired athletes. She is one of the 2 flag bearers. The other is swimmer Lorenzo Perez. He won a gold in Rio, which was Cuba's first gold medal in swimming. All-time 85 Paralympic medals for Cuba, mostly in track and field. Unitas Castilla, one of Cuba's great legends in Paralympic competition. 5 gold medals. Greece has sent 45 athletes to Tokyo. Flag bearers Athanassios Konstantinidos, and he was a gold and silver medalist in athletics in Rio, as well as Anna Nantente, a world champion in bocce. Rio, of course, Athens, of course, hosted the 2004 Paralympic Games, and that always leaves a powerful legacy behind in a city, and I think it has done so as well for Athens and for Greece. There are 45 athletes ready to go in Tokyo. Kyrgyzstan, a mountainous country in Central Asia. 2 athletes in Tokyo, including Arya Stenbak Bazarkulov, who will compete in athletics. And they're strong in powerlifting, too, a very strong tradition in that sport. Welcome to Tokyo, Kyrgyzstan.
Beautiful silk jacket there. Fantastic hats. Now, Guatemala's 2 Paralympic medals, a gold and a bronze, have come in powerlifting. This time, their 2 athletes are competing in athletics. We've got Erica Violeta Esteban Viatorio taking the flag on her Paralympic debut. Isaac Lavia Avia competed in the shot put in London 2012. Now, Kuwait had a bit of a gold drought, broken at the Rio Games in 2016 when Ahmed Al-Matari won the T33 100 metres. He is flying the flag. It was his first career medal in his second Games.
Well, it's their very first appearance at the Paralympic Games, having registered as a Paralympic committee in 2017. And their first registered Paralympic athlete, Ishona Charles, spoke of changing the national perspective towards people with disabilities. Mai Cruikshank, a 19-year-old, known as the Queen, carries the flag.
Michaela Ristowski carries the flag. She's going to be defending the T20 long jump title she won in Rio. Croatia have got 5 gold medals at the Summer Paralympics, 4 in athletics, the other in table tennis. They'll be competing in 8 sports in Tokyo. Now, if you're wondering why it's not ABC, we should point out, seeing as we're in Japan, we're following the order that the Japanese would read them in.
Kenya's flag bearer here, Wairira Helen Kariuki, in her first game. She'll be hoping to be among the medals in the 41-kilogram powerlifting. She was 4th at the World Championships in 2017. It's their 12th appearance. They've had 36 medals. Haris Sebebe Lago in her first games, a 23-year-old, and Herb Adu Ano, a powerlifter, are the 2 flag bearers for Cote d'Ivoire. Made their debut in Atlanta in 1996. And Umar Kone won 2 golds on the track.
Costa Rica's brought 9 athletes to Tokyo. Never won a Paralympic medal, but they're getting close. Their flag bearer, Camilla Haas, was 4th at the World Championships in swimming. And the other flag bearer, 18-year-old table tennis player Stephen Roman Chinchilla. And watch out for sprinter Sherman Giti, who competes in the T64 sprints for leg amputees. If he's on form, he could challenge for a medal.
Erika Maria Castaño Salazar is a lawyer and a second family member to represent Colombia at the Paralympics after her brother. She carries the flag. Wonderful. The names being rotated all the way around the stadium here as the athletes come in. They have 8 sports they'll be competing in.
It's just the second time Congo have been represented at the Paralympic Games, and a first for both team members. F56 shot putter Fifi Lukula Lulendo and runner Emmanuel Grace Muambako will race in the men's 100 metres T11.
Democratic Republic of the Congo. 2 athletes in Tokyo, including Rosetta Luina Kies, flag bearer. She had her right leg amputated below the knee after she stepped on a landmine. She was introduced to athletics through the rehab program of the Red Cross. And here she is competing. The other flag bearer is Colin Mayombe Mokendi.
Sarah Al-Jumar is a bit of a barrier breaker. She became one of the first 3 female para-athletes to represent Saudi Arabia in international competition. That was in 2019. She's joined by Ahmed Shabati, whose wife rides for Belgium, and he is in the equestrian individual test.
Second appearance at the Paralympic Games for the second smallest African state, a population of just 201,000 inhabitants on the islands off the coast of Gabon. Alex Anjou will go in the 400 and 100 meters T47 on the track.
Just one athlete in Tokyo, flag bearer Monica Munga, who said her sport, quote, track and field, gave me hope, freed me from the days I had been discriminated, and gave me confidence. Zambia in Tokyo.
There may be a mask on, but you can still see the smiles. Sierra Leone, fourth appearance at a Paralympic Games. They debuted in 1996. We've got javelin throwers carrying the flag. You need a strong arm, so Juan Faith Jackson and Sori Carbo.
Boy, they had a wonderful time on this track in this stadium a few weeks ago. Well known for their sprinters. At the Paralympic Games, Jamaica has won 55 medals, 6 of them by Sylvia Grant. She is one of the flag bearers, and she is 58 years young. She says age is just a number.
Irma Ketsa Suriani is a wheelchair fencer. She's part of the World Championship Sabre team that won the title in Warsaw this year. So 4 Paralympic Games for Georgia. Their one medal to date came for judoka Zafid Gogotchuri. Made its Paralympic debut in 1992. It sent a delegation of athletes to each edition of the Games since. Mohammed Mohammed, the shot putter and javelin veteran from Beijing, London and Rio, is very proudly waving to us there.
Singapore's flag bearer, Mohammed Deroy Noorden from athletics, will throw shot put and javelin in this stadium. Swimmer Pinju Yip is Singapore's most decorated Paralympian, won her first gold in Beijing when she was only 16. She is part of the 11-member Team Singapore.
They've been at all games since gaining independence in 1980. 2 golds, 9 silver and 6 bronze. Those golds were their last medals via Elliot Mujaji in the men's T46 in Sydney and Athens over 100 meters. A proud record of having participated in every Paralympics. 21 athletes across 8 sports for Switzerland. Marcel Hug is a Paralympic legend, of course, competing in his 5th games in the wheelchair. There's 8 medals with only 2 golds coming in Rio in the T54, 800 and marathon.
They've had 2 other wheelchair legends in Heinz Frey and Franz Niederschlag. Sweden's flag bearer, Helena Rippa, world champion in canoe sprint, and 2-time Paralympic medalist Stefan Olsson from wheelchair tennis. Historically, Sweden has been a Paralympic powerhouse with over 700 medals going back to, you guessed it, Tokyo 1964. 2-time Paralympic gold medalist swimmer Michelle Alonso Morales and world champion cyclist Ricardo Ten Argeles, the flag bearers. Spain has been a leader in Paralympic sport for years, especially since Barcelona hosted the wonderful games of 1992, when the great Javier Conde thrilled the Catalan crowd with golds in the 800, 1500, 5000, and 10,000. Went on to win 7 Paralympic gold medals. Watch for Spain to be strong in boccia, wheelchair basketball, and also 5-a-side football. And Susana Rodriguez here in Tokyo, Paralympian in triathlon, also a doctor. She's been working tirelessly on the front lines of the pandemic, and this month she is on the cover of the current edition of Time magazine in Europe.
You can feel the joy in the stadium here.
DJ Seo is dropping some sick beats there.
The Spanish athletes are loving it.
It's difficult to sit still, that's for sure.
And who wants to? It's all about movement here. Fantastic.
Spain has brought 143 athletes to Tokyo. That's why it's taking a while, competing in 16 of the 22 sports and flexing for the, well, fellow athletes, I guess.
Magnificent.
Some of the nations decided not to bring full contingent to the opening ceremony. The Spaniards saying, we don't want to miss out on this party. All representing Sri Lanka, Dinesh Herath, who won a bronze in the F46 javelin in Rio. He was shot in the arm while serving in the military. Lives in a World Heritage Site of Anaranapura. A proud moment for him as he carries the flag for the pearl-shaped Indian Ocean Island. All the athletes, bar Primrial Jacordi, will take part in athletics. He will be in the para-rowing.
And you know, you keep those uniforms for decades after you wear them. You pull them out every once in a while from the closet and you wear them around the house for the kids.
Do they still fit?
No question, no comment.
Well, 2 shooting goals in Rio for Veronika Vladovichova. And she's back here. She's had 5 medals in 5 games. A gold in Beijing. She said of that, my life suddenly turned around. The impaired girl became a recognized personality. I was no longer just a little girl in the wheelchair. Society and the media began to perceive me as a respected person.
Dejan Fabcic is on solid ground in Tokyo. He's going to be competing in the archery, having competed in kayaking previous Paralympic Games, including Rio. Slovenia's been competing as an independent country since the Summer Games in 1992. They've won 3 golds, 6 silver and 7 bronze. They also get the same financial reward as fellow Olympians.
Senegal made its Paralympic debut in Athens in 2004. Since then, 5 athletes have represented the nation in athletics, all in athletics, and they have sent 3 from athletics to Tokyo, including the flag bearer Youssoufa Diop, competing in his 2nd Paralympic Games. And trying to win his nation's 1st Paralympic medal.
Strong delegation of 20 athletes. Borislava Peric-Rankovic has 4 medals in the table tennis across 3 games. She's back for more. Saskia Sokolov, who played handball at national club level before turning to athletics, is carrying the flag alongside Laszlo Suranji. In his first Paralympics is the 42-year-old shooter.
And a big welcome to the Paralympic family, to this island that's located in the southeast Windward Islands of the Lesser Antilles. 36-year-old Dexore Crease there only took up para-swimming at 34 because he wanted to join everyone else down at the beach.
It's a good reason.
It's a very good reason. Probably a very good beach as well.
Mahdi Abshir Omar, the visually impaired shot putter, is carrying the flag. I encourage every person with an impairment to believe in themselves, he says, that they can achieve anything they want. Don't give up. And I'm sure he certainly won't.
2 athletes competing in Tokyo, both Solomon Jagiri and Jamina Otoya qualified by winning gold in Taekwondo at the Oceania qualification tournament. And maybe this will be the games that Solomon Islands gets its 1st Paralympic medal. Who knows?
Two gold medalists from Rio are carrying the flag. Subin Tipmani in the boccia, and she was a world champion in 2018 as well, so strong favourite at these games. Also, Pongsakon Payo, who was a 19-year-old, swept to gold in Rio in the 400 and 800 in the T53. For good measure, he collected the silver in the 100 and the relay as well.
Choi Yijin was boccia champion in London. Players use a ramp in the BC3 category. And Yejin's mum is her ramp assistant, and I think that's her alongside as well, proudly waving the Korean flag. 343 medals to date for South Korea following the 2016 Summer Paralympics, ranked in the top 20 nations across the world.
won 2 medals. Chinese Taipei did in Rio in 2016. The team has some very good racket sport players, including 42-year-old Mingqi Sheng, a silver medalist in table tennis in Rio, and 22-year-old Jinghu Fang, who will compete in badminton. That sport making its Paralympic debut here in Tokyo. Just one athlete, the flag bearer from Tajikistan, Akmal Khodorov, will compete in shot put, one of the wheelchair athlete throwing categories, F63. He also represented Tajikistan in para arm wrestling. In fact, won gold at the World Championships.
Is that training?
True.
Well, their motto is freedom and unity, the beautiful East African country of Tanzania, the Great Lakes region of Africa. Madumla Ikhnas Mateve is back. It's his second games.
Arnost Petracek won his team's sole gold medal in Rio, and his reward is to carry the flag, 50 metres backstroke S4. And he looks absolutely delighted to be leading the team out. They won 2 gold medals on debut in Atlanta in 1996. Banked quite a few more since then, but only won 1 in both London and Rio.
5th appearance for the landlocked African nation. The Songa motto is Zokwe Zo, all people are people. Couldn't be more appropriate. Veronica Ndakara, the women's shot put, F41, is their flag bearer.
The nation that has topped the medal tally the last 4 Paralympic Games in a row. The flag bearers from archery, double gold medalist in Rio, Zhao Jiamen, and from athletics, 2-time long jump world champion Wang Hao. In Rio, Chinese athletes dominated on the track, in the pool, just about everywhere. Just to pick a few names, Mao Xingding, the table tennis star, won gold in London at age 17, repeated in Rio, and she will try for the hat trick in Tokyo. Zhu Ji was just 17 in Rio when she won gold on the track in the 100 and 200 in the T35, and has a good battle with Australia's Isis Holt, who beat Zhu in both events at the World Championships. So that should be fun. China is always good in women's, is also good in women's sitting volleyball, and expect another showdown with the U.S. there for gold. Maybe, who knows? And the Chinese women's wheelchair basketball team is very strong.
Aurora Tilili and Walid Tila are the flag bearers here. Plenty of medals between them. Tilili has 4 golds in shot put and discus, and an 8-time world champion. Surely a medal beckons here. And Tila has 3 golds and a silver. And it's the northernmost nation on the African continent, Tunisia.
Francisca Mardones Sepulveda is flying the flag. She's the current T54 shot put world champion, but actually competed in the wheelchair tennis at the Paralympic Games in 2012 and 2016. Next up, we've got Alberto Barza, who's going to be swimming.
Wonderful moment for 43-year-old Lisa Gissing, the multiple world champion in the K44 Taekwondo. She finally gets the chance to go for Paralympic gold, as it's one of the 2 newly introduced sports at this year's Games. Her husband Christian and daughters Frida and Kasha will be watching very closely. Daniel Wagner is carrying the flag alongside her.
There's the German delegation, flag bearers, wheelchair basketball player Mareike Miller, simply one of the best in her sport. And from cycling, Michael Tuber, the 4-time Paralympic champion, 10-time world champion, still going fast in his 50s. Germany has a big team, 136 athletes, always a strong Paralympic nation. Watch out on the track and in the field for Marcus Rem, his personal best in the long jump. Get this, is farther than the Olympic gold medalist flew a few weeks ago, 8 meters 62. Germany also has qualified several teams, always tough to do, including in sitting volleyball, both men's and women's wheelchair basketball. And they're a world leader in prosthetics, and they don't just keep that to themselves, they share it as well.
One representative for Togo, Komialo Kabisa. She'll be competing in the F57 shot put. Togo making its Paralympic debut at the 2016 Games in Rio. It's a full moon tonight. Waiting to peek out from those clouds. A slightly larger contingent for the Dominican Republic here in Tokyo. Just 2 athletes in 2016, but 1 medal. That's a good return.
Eyes are sparkling. It's just the most glorious sight, despite the masks.
18-year-old Hava El Mali competing in her first Paralympic Games, one of the flag bearers, and from wheelchair basketball, Ridvan Aksoy, a 21-year-old, also in his first game. Turkey sits on the border of Europe and Asia and competes in European championships in many sports. In fact, Turkey's men's wheelchair basketball team, a medalist at the last European Championships and a medal contender here in Tokyo. And the women's goalball team comes to Japan as the reigning Paralympic champions.
They are strong.
22 athletes from Nigeria, flag bearers Lucy Ajike, 3-time Paralympic champion in powerlifting, and Tajudeen Agunbayati, 2 golds in table tennis in Sydney 21 years ago. And the great Paralympian from Nigeria back in 1992 was Adeola Ajibola, who roared to a 10.72 clocking in the 100 meters. Namibia, 3 athletes in Tokyo, all in athletics. Flag bearer Leisha Ishetele, Commonwealth Games medalist and 3-time world champion Johannes Shambala, who won 2 silvers at the last Paralympic Games, again from athletics.
Well, the Central American nation appeared in Athens, London and Rio. And their flag bearers Carlos Alberto Castillo and Arlen Hidalgo, both on the track. Hidalgo in the women's T11 1500 meters, and Castillo goes in the 400 and 1500 T38.
Just the one competitor, Ibrahim Diabu, competing in Rio. Sorry, one of 2 para-athletes. He was competing in both the long jump and the 100 meters in Rio. We've got the shot put for Balkisa Amado.
So New Zealand has a flag being carried by a volunteer. They decided not to march in. The little island country of over 5 million won 9 gold medals in Rio. They'll be participating here, that's for sure. Watch them for them in wheelchair rugby, the Wheel Blacks.
18-year-old Palesha Govendran will be carrying the hopes of a nation in the women's taekwondo. What an opportunity. She'll be in the K44 58-kilogram event as they come to their 5th Paralympic Games, Nepal.
Jens Lasse Dokken will be competing in the equestrian event. That flag looks really tall on that rather nifty scooter there. Ida Louise Overland will be competing for the women's. But one of the stars, Birgit Skarstein, she's a para-rower, also known for her cross-country efforts in skiing. She's looking to be competing in next year's Winter Paralympics.
Ruba Al-Omari, a massage therapist and mother of 2, and Ahmed Nejmaima, the silver medalist in Athens in the shot put, carrying the flag for Bahrain.
22-year-old Joensen registers, the only athlete from Haiti in the shot put carrying the flag. He says he was invited to a parasport festival by the president of the Haitian Paralympic Committee, and that was the beginning. And of course, difficult days lately in Haiti, so maybe this is a little bit of good news.
Haider Ali is carrying the flag for Pakistan. He was a silver medalist in Beijing, a bronze medalist in Rio. He's looking for the missing medal in the long jump F37-38 here in Tokyo.
Flag bearers for Panama, Yvette del Rosario Valdez Romero in athletics. Also, well, she's a lawyer and she serves as the General Secretary of the Paralympic Committee of Panama. The other flag bearer is Giancarlos Wisdom Lundgren, a bricklayer by trade and competes in the 400 meters in athletics. A team of 3 athletes, 2 in track and field and 1 in powerlifting.
Well, in Beijing, Francis Cambuan won a silver medal in the men's T46 100 meters. The sports minister of the country said his performance raised the issue of disability in Papua New Guinea to a level it has never been. That's the impact it makes.
Tiny little island nation of just 62,000. One athlete, Jessica Lewis, a wheelchair racer, 3-time Paralympian, trains, lives in Canada. She was a bronze medalist at the World Championships. And her coach, Curtis Tom, was also a Paralympian.
Melissa Nair, Tilna Galeano and Rodrigo Hermosa making history here because Paraguay making its Paralympic Games debut in Tokyo.
It's a big step.
Now, 3 years ago, Antoine Boyce-Vaughan lost his right leg after bone cancer. Last year, he learnt to swim as part of his recovery. And look now, he's carrying the flag for Barbados ahead of competing in the men's 50 metres freestyle S9. Well, Palestine first sent athletes to the Paralympic Games in the year 2000. It's been represented at every game since. The only sport, though, is athletics, and it's won 3 Paralympic medals. That's shot putter Hussam F. Azam.
Hungary's flag bearer is 7-time Paralympic medalist in fencing, Gyongyi Dani. Hungary has won 144 medals all-time, including 6 by fencing star Paul Zakaras, who got bronze in '88 in Seoul at the Olympic Games, and then was in a car accident, came back to win several more Paralympic medals. Fiji won its first Paralympic medal in London. Ilyisa Delana won gold in the men's T42 high jump. Fiji has 2 athletes in Tokyo, both competing in athletics. Their national sport is rugby sevens, and they won gold in Tokyo.
No gold yet for the Philippines. They've got 5 athletes competing in Tokyo. Gerard Pete Manglawan is carrying the flag magnificently, and they have been competing. They've won 2 Paralympic medals, is what I want to say, in powerlifting and table tennis.
Well, their flag bearer is a dairy farmer, a mother and an equestrian coach, Pia Paulina Rieti. She'll be in the equestrian dressage test on Thursday. Henry Mani, former para-canoe competitor, is the other flag bearer, and he'll be going in the wheelchair sprints. It's inspired by Leo Peka Tahiti. And Bhutan make their debut here at the Paralympic Games, and how spectacular they look. Fantastic. The shot putter Chima Dema, who only took up the sport when she lost her job in 2018, is carrying the flag. To physically challenge your dream of becoming a sportsman is far from being over, she said.
Yaimili Marie Diaz-Colon, well, now she used to play volleyball. She was given a prosthetic in order to play better. And she decided actually she ran better, so she dumped the volleyball and took up running. So she'll be competing in the athletics here in Tokyo. Well, the Faroe Islands won all its Paralympic medals, including a gold, between 1988 and the year 2004. This is Havard Vatnaheimer, who's going to race in the men's marathon. He was previously a triathlete, but was unable to qualify during the pandemic, so has switched to running the marathon.
Well, they do have the biggest or second biggest delegation here, but obviously not parading all of them tonight. Evelyn de Oliveira from Boccia, gold medalist in Rio, is carrying the flag alongside Patricio Ferreira dos Santos, a world record holder in the 100 meters T47, and he's the world champion. So he's chasing gold for the second time in Tokyo, having picked it up in Rio as well.
President of the Paralympic Committee enjoying their entrance. Bulgaria's flag bearer Milena Todorova from shooting. They have a team of 4 athletes, including Rushdie, gold medalist in the shot put in Rio. He's a 3-time world champion. I love his quote, "Sport makes the body strong and the spirit eternal."
The lounge really is starting to bubble over. A landlocked West African country, the capital is Ouagadougou, and 2 athletes with visual impairments are their flag bearers, Ferdinand Caporare and Victorine Guissot, who will go in the shot put F57. They've got 6 athletes competing at these games.
I love the hats.
Adeline Mushiranzigo is the teenager carrying the flag here for her country, her first Paralympic Games, but a 4th for Remy Nico Bimeze. Carried the flag in 2012 and 2016 as his country's sole representative. Flowing robes, nice and cool on a night like this.
And the wind is picking up. Group of islands in the Caribbean to the east of Puerto Rico and west of the British Virgin Isles. Now Maris Nesbitt will compete in the T38 Women's 100. She's carrying the flag tonight. The 20-year-old is studying at the Bell Rhea Institute of Animal Technology in Denver, Colorado. And she's tonight enjoying the night of her life.
In Rio, Vietnam won its first ever medal, and then won another, and then won another, and then won another. 4 medals. The first went to powerlifter Van Cong Lee in the 49-kilogram category. Flag bearers are 5-time Paralympian Hoang Thiet Lon Chu from powerlifting, and Nikok Hong Chau, a bronze medalist.
French-speaking West African nation. They've been a member of the IPC since 1997. And only the second time they'll have 2 athletes, T47 sprinter Faisal Achiba and Charlotte Houndulawan. And they are the flag bearers. She'll be in the shot put.
Right, well, they get the gold medal for the best waving of the flag of the night. That's Abraham Jesus Ortego Abello with Lisbelli Marina Varia Andrade. Now, she's 19 years old, definitely one to watch. Finished 3rd in the 100, 200 and 400 T47 Para-Athletic World Championships. I think her career and fame is just beginning. They are ready to party.
The flag bearer for Belarus is Ludmila Wojcik, who's won 2 Paralympic medals in rowing. These are her 4th Paralympic Games. Belarus won 8 medals in Rio, 6 of them by 1 athlete, swimmer Ihari Buki in the visually impaired S13 category. Buki is Belarus's greatest Paralympian, has now piled up a total of 13 medals, 11 of them gold, and he's here in Tokyo trying to win some more.
They have a total of 8 medals, and Leonora Espinosa Carranza will be making her debut because she's in the Taekwondo in the 49-kilogram K44 and carrying the flag alongside her friend Sotakuro used his disappointment of 4th place in the marathon 5 years ago as motivation for the 2020 Games here in Tokyo in the T46. Equestrian athlete Michelle George will be hunting a 4th gold medal. She'll join Ingrid Bora as the most successful women's Paralympian if she gets it. Sadness in October 2019, her horse FBW Rainman passed away following a colic attack. They won 2 gold medals at the Paralympic Games in London and another in Rio. Bruno van Hove is also in this team. He's in the goalball team. He could have had a goalball team in his family. He's a sextuplet.
Wow.
Tom, Jelle, Arne, Ville and Loda.
Poland, a traditional power in Paralympic sport. Flag bearers are Joanna Mendik, a 3-time Paralympic champion in swimming, and the brilliant jumper, Maciej Lebieto, who's won gold in both high jump and long jump at both the Paralympic Games and the World Championships. Poland is a team of 93 athletes. In Rio, won 39 medals. And Natalia Partika is also part of the team, the table tennis superstar, going for her 5th straight singles title.
Zarina Skomorac will be taking part in the 10-meter air rifle prone position. Haris Eminovic in table tennis, but Bosnia and Herzegovina's won 5 Paralympic medals, all in men's sitting volleyball, should I say. Silvers, 2000, 2008 and 2016, and 2 golds in 2004 and 2012.
Well, this nation won an Olympic bronze medal on this track underneath where the athletes are walking just a few weeks ago in the 4x400 meter relay, and I think they're still celebrating. Botswana has 2 athletes at the Paralympic Games, and both, interestingly enough, are also 400 meter runners. Gloria Majaga is the flag bearer, and Botswana's first and only Paralympic medal was in Athens.
Well, 15-year-old Beatrice Montero will make her debut. She's carrying the flag there because she's in the badminton. And alongside her, Miguel Montero is also making his debut. But he made his debut, beg your pardon, in Rio at 15 as well. So he's studying engineering now, but also back at a Paralympics. They've got 34 athletes at these games. And they did win the mixed boccia bronze in Rio. Cristina Gonçalves is in that team for this year's games. David Grass.
Well, Hong Kong has won no fewer than 2 Paralympic titles per games since 1992. Yam Kwok Pham is carrying the flag along as she's going to be competing in the women's 100 metres T36, and that is Hu Kai Chung, who a swimmer alongside her.
Well, they've just got 1 athlete, Carlos Velasquez, will run in Saturday. It's the men's 100 metres T38 for the Central American nation. It's their 7th Paralympic Games.
Don't you love how a lot of the countries have made the masks part of the outfit?
Yeah.
Madagascar made its Paralympic debut in 2000 in Sydney. Aurélie Faravevi is a sprinter and competes against other visually impaired athletes.
Those flags are really racking up.
Well, visually impaired athlete Tonele Panda competed in the women's T13 1500 in Rio. She was disqualified for moving out of her lane. She hopes to redress that at these games. Second time they're competing at the Paralympic Games. And carrying their flag, Orotumo Coulibaly, a 30-year-old mother of 2 and dressmaker. She will compete in the women's T57 discus and javelin. Yusuf Coulibaly is in the men's 100-meter T13, is alongside her as a flag bearer as well.
Officially the smallest nation at this year's Paralympic Games in terms of size. Liechtenstein and Macau aren't here. That's Vladislava Kravchenko, originally born in Ukraine. She's a swimmer She was also the flag bearer at the opening ceremony of the 2016 Paralympic Games in Rio. Now, Malaysia will be competing in 9 sports. They won 3 gold medals in Rio 5 years ago, having never previously won a gold medal at a Paralympic Games. Athletes from Malaysia claimed 3 gold medals at the 2016 Games, as I said, in Rio. Sito Nur Ayash Mohammed and Bonnie Bunyu Gustin carrying the flag. Well, South Africa, we see Jatsu Monjane, who's making great strides in women's tennis. She's the first black South African woman to compete at Wimbledon and the first African wheelchair tennis player to qualify for all Grand Slam tournaments in the same year. And I didn't even get to tell you about Charles de Toy.
Some legends there. Amalia Perez, a powerlifting legend, has a remarkable record. Silver in Sydney and Athens turned into gold in Beijing, London and Rio. She works in IT and is coached by her husband Enrique Alvarado and supported by her daughter Melissa. She'll be going for gold here as well. Carrying the flag alongside Diego Lopez Diaz. He's got a busy schedule in the pool. 2 freestyle backstroke and individual medley events to compete in.
All 4 of Mauritius athletes will compete in athletics, including wheelchair racer Marial Emmanuel Anes Alfonso, who was named Sports Personality of the Year at the National Sports Awards in Mauritius, and not surprisingly named flag bearer.
Oh, match your leg to the flag. Absolutely awesome.
And another beautiful mask as well.
Edmilsa Gouverneur was the only representative of Mozambique at Rio 2016. She claimed an historic bronze in the women's T12 400. She gets to carry the flag alongside Hilario Chavela. And those costumes look absolutely spot on for the sultry temperatures here tonight.
This is a very special moment for this small Asian nation located in the Indian Ocean, making its Paralympic debut. 2 athletes both race in the 100 meters on the track in the visually impaired categories. Welcome to the first ever flag bearers from Maldives, Fatima Ibrahim and Mohammed Mazin. This is a special moment. Moldova, Eastern European country, has won 2 medals at the Paralympic Games. Oleg Kretval will compete in judo, gold medalist representing Russia back in 2008. He's also competed in the Olympic Games in judo before he lost his sight, and he's one of the 2 flag bearers, along with Larissa Marinkova from powerlifting.
Well, they've won 26 medals in their last 4 games, but all except 1 has come from athletics. Mohamed Lana's bronze in the para-triathlon in Rio was that exception. They'll be represented in 6 sports by 13 women and 21 men. First sent athletes to the Games in Seoul in 1988.
Well, Mongolia won its first Paralympic medal at the Beijing 2008 Games in archery. Archer Ganbatar Zandra will be representing Mongolia tonight. He's the one with that spectacular hat. Looks like he's got a temple on his head. It's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
Montenegro in southeastern Europe, part of the Balkans. 5 athletes in Tokyo. The flag bearers Mariana Goranovic, competing in her 3rd Paralympic Games in athletics. Silver at the European Championships. And Filip Radovic, also carrying the flag, silver in table tennis at the European Championships.
The current F34 world champion shot putter Ahmed Hindi is our flag bearer here for Jordan. Jordanian athletes secured 3 medals at the 26 Games in Rio, all of them coming in powerlifting. Time for a selfie.
Ken Teptida, the 21-year-old visually impaired sprinter carrying the flag. He's one of several athletes from that country who are taking part in the project with the Japanese not-for-profit organization Asian Development with Disabled Persons.
Love the purple.
Encouraging social integration and independence among people with impairments in Lao People's Democratic Republic.
Well, let me introduce you to a bit of a goal machine here, or a gold machine, should I say. Igors Apinos is a discus thrower. He's looking to add to his collection. He's won 8 of his country's 15 medals to date, 4 of those 5 gold medals.
Oh, gold medalists in the gold ball in Rio 5 years ago. They only have the 6 golds they won to come from a sport other than athletics. And they've got a big start to their competition as well.
We've got a big flag bearer.
Well, Mindaugas Bilios on the men's shot put gold in F37, as well as silver in the discus. That's why he's carrying the flag.
Libya's only medal at the Paralympic Games, won by powerlifter Abdelrahman Hamed in Sydney. 2 athletes in Tokyo, including Mahmoud Abadar, who will compete in Taekwondo as it makes its Paralympic debut.
The IPC family growing all the time.
Patience Johnson, Thomas Mulba. Strong arm action needed to carry the flag, but they're saving their arms because they are competing in the javelin. Both athletes in javelin action, resting up ahead of a stiff competition. But still coming out to this glorious opening ceremony at the Tokyo National Stadium.
Well, since 1972, they've won 4 medals, but 3 have come from the same athlete, Karol Edward Novak, who has a gold and 2 silvers in road cycling from Beijing and London, and he's one of the 9 athletes here as well. Table tennis player Bobby Simeon is back for his 2nd games. European Championship silver medalist in 2019. Looking to improve on 5th in Rio.
This is Ian Tom Habshite, 2nd in the 2019 World Championships. So one of the things ahead of this Games, we don't know who's in form or not, but a silver at the World Championships suggests he will be one to watch in the T63 shot put.
Hermes Muvunyi competing in his 3rd Paralympic Games in athletics. He's had 2 top 5 finishes in his first 2 appearances. He'd like to upgrade, of course. And Rwanda's sitting volleyball team for women, the first sub-Saharan women's team in history in any sport to compete at the Paralympic Games. They qualified in Rio and they've qualified again in Tokyo.
I'm liking this coordinated parade we've got here.
Well, the flag has a Basotho hat, or Mokorotlo, at the center, adopted in 2006, officially known as the Kingdom of Lesotho, Litsetso Kotletle, from Motlotong, high in the Maluti Mountains, 10th in the discus in F64. Competes in the same event on Sunday.
Cyclist Edward Malouf winning both of their Paralympic medals in Beijing for Lebanon. This year's team, just one athlete, Arz Zaradine, whose background is in fencing, but he'll be competing in track and field, and he, of course, is the flag bearer.
Just 3 teams to come.
Oh. And the next one will be hosting one of the games in Los Angeles in a few years' time. USA, probably not much of a surprise to learn that American athletes have won more Paralympic golds than any other nation, more of any color. In fact, flag bearers Melissa Stockwell, 3-time world champion in para-triathlon, whose injury happened while she was in the military in Baghdad, a roadside bomb. The other flag bearer, the legendary wheelchair rugby star Charles Chuck Aoki, leads a U.S. team trying to complete its medal set. They've won bronze in London, silver in Rio. They're hoping for gold in Tokyo. And this lineup includes some big names like Tatiana McFadden, the 17-time Paralympic medalist in wheelchair racing, and Hunter Woodall, another star, the first double amputee to earn an NCAA Division I college scholarship. And the U.S. men's wheelchair basketball team, led by Steve Sirio, is the favorite for gold. So is the U.S. women's sitting volleyball team, the reigning Paralympic champions. USA will be strong in Tokyo.
Some gold ballers getting down to the groove there. Right, 3 years' time, this party will move to Paris. For now, the focus for the team from France will only be competing in all but 3 events in Tokyo. They tallied 28 medals in Rio de Janeiro, one of the smallest in their history, 17 fewer than it had won in London, but they will be aiming big in 3 years' time. And Sandrine Martinet, one of the flag bearers, rather memorably broke her left ankle during a semi-final bout in the judo in London. She took up judo because she said she wanted to prove that she could be successful. And we have Stéphane Houdet, the wheelchair tennis legend, multiple Grand Slam titles to his name. He's the reigning men's doubles Paralympic champion in wheelchair tennis.
They have a big group. You can just keep going on, I think.
Well, red, white and blue, beautifully arranged there. They're walking like the national flag. And their placard bearers getting right into it with them as well.
And expect a big push from France over the next few years as they get ready to host the games. I know they have a very young wheelchair basketball team, and they didn't qualify for Tokyo, but they will be pushing hard for Paris in 2024, both on the men's and women's sides.
The final nation to enter this magnificent arena, the host nation. Well, since appearing in 1964, they had 16 athletes then. They won a gold in the men's doubles table tennis. Now their delegation is 260 strong. They'll be taking part in every single games. A proud moment for sure for every single one of these athletes. Mamitani and Koya Ibubushi are the 2 flag bearers, but a team behind them of a multitude of medal prospects. Tomoyo Ito, previous world record holder in the 800 and marathon and the T52, looking to add to that total of 377 medals. Introduction of para-badminton will give Sarina Staumi a chance to show her brilliance on the biggest stage of them all. She was paralyzed from the waist down after a car accident in 2016. They're formidable in wheelchair rugby as current world champions. They have high hopes for gold here.
And I think the whole team is coming out.
And you see that with the host nation, and I can remember that in Sydney and in Atlanta and in Barcelona. Not one of the athletes from the home country wants to miss these opening ceremonies.
Absolutely. Kuneda Shingo, the top-ranked men's wheelchair tennis player in the world. 25 Grand Slam singles titles. He was the gold medalist in Beijing and London. Wants to win that gold here on home turf. Tomoki Sato, silver medalist in the 400 and 1500 and the T52 in Rio. But since then, he's won both those events at successive world championships. So building up nicely to chase down the gold medal on this beautiful track.
Fast track too. Very, very fast. I'm sure all the athletics athletes are very excited.
And a big moment for Yamamoto Atsushi. Twice a silver medalist in the long jump. He'll be hoping for the gold here. But he's also competed in snowboarding at the 2018 Winter Paralympic Games. And another of those doubling up, Ota Shoko, making a Summer Games debut. She was in the Winter Games as well. She will compete in the Taekwondo 58 kilogram category K44.
It's a short turnaround. It's 192 days between now and the Beijing opening ceremonies of the Paralympic Winter Games.
This is very good preparation. But what a wonderful moment for all these athletes to walk into their home stadium and celebrate a truly remarkable achievement, reaching your home games and taking part in these Paralympic Games.
And we saw how well the Olympic athletes did on the medal tally a few weeks ago, and I suspect it'll be the same, and that will boost the spirits of the athletes, and we hope the nation.
Well, in Rio they had a good games, but they didn't win a gold medal. Just 10 silver and 14 bronze. So with athletes in every event here in Tokyo, they'll be well amongst the gold medalists, you'd imagine, the preparation they've put in for the last 5 years.
Not all the athletes we've seen parade in tonight are still here. Some have walked in and have headed out to prepare for competition tomorrow because it gets underway bright and early for some. Some still have a wait.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. You want to be rested. You want to, because that's why you came here to compete.
I can tell you that Koya Iwabushi, the table tennis player carrying the flag for Japan, is on the table at 9:40 on day one of the games tomorrow. But he won't miss out on this.
There'll be a fast bus back to the Paralympic Village. The flags are back out across the buildings on the Paralympic Village. You know which country's staying in which block. All about the flags blowing in the wind.
Well, from all reports, the village is beautiful and the food is magnificent as it always is. The selection is incredible.
A little bit of rain starting to fall over the stadium.
That's not going to dampen the show.
Not one bit.
Because a show is what we have coming up next.
183 Paralympic delegations there are. Not all of them are here, but as we heard, 5 new nations making their debuts at the Paralympic Games here as the family grows. Well, the music has been sensational. Japanese artists such as Seiho, we see the DJ up there, and Park Golf, and Konishi Ryo has produced the music that these athletes have been jumping and jiving to for the last hour or so. And you no doubt at home. Welcome the world's athletes to the 2020 Tokyo Summer Paralympic Games. Spectacular Paralympians are symbols of the winds of change, blowing outward from the stadium to reach the entire world.
Welcome to Pada and Wart, where you are about to witness the arrival of a variety of unique aircraft carried to us on the three-color winds of change. Now, let us begin with a story about a little one-wing plane. Please enjoy the show.
ようこそパラエアポートへ。ここでは3色の風が吹き、さまざまな飛行機がやってきます。今からここで始まるのは片翼の小さな飛行機の物語。それではお楽しみください。
Wind dancers.
Now the job of the wind dancers is to help generate the wind we need to assist these unique aircraft we're about to see in taking flight.
There's the star.
Little one-wing plane.
Now all this little one-wing plane wants to do is fly.
But she just can't get up there.
Sometimes you're nervous to try.
Perhaps you need a bit of encouragement.
Not all planes are built the same. And yet they fly. Now the cast playing these unique aeroplanes all have some kind of impairment: vision, hearing, lower limb deficiency, intellectual dwarfism, cerebral palsy and others, but none of them have let impairment get in their way. They've all got their own unique way of flying.
Sometimes you need to see it before you can be it.
Some just need some fans to help them fly.
There's a cheeky, perky character now.
Need some oil.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because this is a talkative plane that uses sign language to take to the skies. Now, what our talkative plane is saying is you can fly if you get the belief in yourself. Chibi Moeko works as a burlesque performer.
Try as she might, she just can't take off.
This is Mitsuko Takeuchi. She's wearing a pair of headphones to listen to audio signals sent by a phone attached to her hip, which enables her to walk unaided through the arena.
And we'll be back. The little one-wing plane's efforts to take to the skies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome梨本威温, President of the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games, and Andrew Parsons, President of the International Paralympic Committee.
皆様、公演祭と会東京オリンピック・パラリンピック協会会の組織委員会橋本総会議長、そして国際パラリンピック委員会アンドルー・パーソン会長をお迎えください。
天皇陛下のご臨席を仰ぎ、ここに東京2020パラリンピック競技大会の開会を迎えるにあたり、ご挨拶申し上げます。パーソンズ会長をはじめ IPC の皆様、各国からご列席いただいたご来賓の皆様、この開会式をご覧になっている世界の皆様、オリンピアンが躍動したオリンピックからいよいよ舞台はパラリンピックへと移りました。皆様、ようこそ東京へ心から歓迎申し上げます。世界中が依然としてコロナ禍の厳しい状況にある中、医療従事者の皆様をはじめ、この困難を乗り越えようと日々尽力されているすべての方々、また開催実現にご尽力をいただいた IPC、日本国政府、東京都、関係者の皆様に心から感謝を申し上げます。大会開催を受け入れていただいた日本の皆様にご理解をいただけるよう、さらにコロナ感染症対策に万全を期し、安心安全の大会運営をやり遂げてまいります。東京は史上初めて2度目の夏季パラリンピックを迎えます。前回の東京パラリンピックは障害のある方々に自立と社会参画を促し、その後の日本にパラスポーツの発展をもたらしました。57年後に開催するこの大会は何をもたらすかが問われています。パラリンピックを迎える準備を始めてから、私たちの社会はユニバーサルデザインのまちづくりや心のバリアフリーを目指してきました。一歩一歩少しずつ、しかし確実に社会は変わり始めています。大会を契機に互いの違いを認め合い、支え合い、いかなる差別も障壁もなく、誰もが生きやすい共生社会を築いていきたい。アスリートとスポーツの力で世界と未来を変える、これが私たちの使命です。半世紀の時を経て、今社会が変革する時が来ました。アスリートの皆さん、コロナ禍というさらなる困難にあっても、ひたすら努力を続け、東京に来ていただきありがとうございます。すべてを受け入れ、時に諦めざるを得ない状況から生まれた真の力強さと覚悟を持つ世界のすべてのパラアスリートを尊敬します。パラアスリートは人間には無限の可能性と限界を超える能力があることをいつも教えてくださいます。いくつかの困難を乗り越えてきたその姿で、私たちに立ち上がる力と希望を与えてください。組織委員会はこの東京大会がパラアスリートの努力をたたえ、社会が変わる舞台となる
Hashimoto Seiko, a 7-time Olympian, having thanked the people of Japan and Tokyo and the essential frontline workers around the world, hopes that the Tokyo Games are an opportunity to build a society where everyone feels free to live in mutual support of each other.
Your Majesty, the Emperor, athletes, Prime Minister Suga, Governor Koike, President of the Organizing Committee, Hashimoto Seiko, friends from the Paralympic movement, sports fans from all over the world, good evening and welcome to the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. I cannot believe we are finally here. Many doubt this day would happen. Many thought it impossible. But thanks to the efforts of many, the most transformative sport event on earth is about to begin. The Japanese government, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee, the International Olympic Committee never lost faith and worked tirelessly alongside the International Paralympic Committee to make these games happen. We thank our hosts for trusting we can deliver safe games for athletes and officials, but also for the Paralympics, for the Japanese society. From the bottom of my heart, arigato Japan, arigato Tokyo. We will honor our host. We will honor your trust, your omotenashi, so that the outstanding legacy these Paralympic Games leave this country is a new perception of persons with disabilities. But we want more. We want to change the entire world. That is why the IPC and the International Disability Alliance spearheaded the launch of the Wheel of 15. Over the next 10 years, Wheel of 15 will challenge how the world's 15% with disabilities are perceived and treated at a global level. With the support of 20 international organizations, civil society, the business sector, and the media, we will put the world's 1.2 billion persons with disabilities firmly at the heart of the inclusion agenda. The Paralympic Games are for sure a platform for change. But every 4 years is not enough. It is up to each and every one of us to play our part every day to make for a more inclusive society. In our countries, in our cities, in our communities. When humanity should be united in its fight against COVID-19, there is a destructive desire by some to break this harmony, overlooking what brings us together to focus on the factors that differentiate us, fuels discrimination. It weakens what we can achieve together as human race. Difference is a strength. It is not a weakness. And as we build back better, the post-pandemic world must feature societies where opportunities exist for all. When the Games were postponed last year, Paralympic athletes were beacons of hope. When the shadow of uncertainty was upon us, they never stopped training. They never stopped pursuing their dreams. They never stopped believing they would be here in this stadium tonight. They are a force of nature. They are a force for good. Their resilience empowered many, but they not do this alone. Behind them were the national Paralympic committees and international federations, supporting them and navigating them through this unprecedented time for humanity. This is the strength of the Paralympic movement, working together to provide athletes the best platform to shine. Paralympians, you gave your all to be here. Blood, sweat, and tears. Now is your moment to show to the world your skill, your strength, your determination. If the world has ever labeled you, now is your time to be relayed. Champion, hero, friend, colleague, role model, or just human. You are the best of humanity and the only ones who can decide who and what you are. You are the truth. You are amazing. You choose to be the greatest in whatever the plan is. Your performances will change the fortunes of your lives. But most importantly, they will change the lives of 1.2 billion forever. This is the power of sport, to transform lives and communities. Change starts with sport. And from tomorrow on, Paralympic athletes start once again to change the world. Domo arigato. Thank you very much. Muito obrigado.
Well, a dynamic, impassioned plea and a message delivered by IPC President Andrew Parsons.
You're such an inspiration. So brave.
You remind me to be happy.
I'm not the truth that you know. If you get it breaks my heart. You are superheroes.
Really?
Yeah, we're superheroes, alright. We're getting the kids out the door on time. We push strollers. We have more Get somewhere on holiday. We're politicians. Lobsters. Hedge devices. We get married. That's how it's like that. We're gonna laugh at ourselves too. We go back running. And that was good. We pray 5 times a day. And no, I'm not praying for a cure. I'm praying for a new handbag.
We swipe right.
We go for a dance.
So on pedestals or not?
I will pity tolerated.
We're not special. That's not what it's like.
And only when you're serious. When you're human, only when we all bring our own barriers. Keep us apart.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for His Majesty, the Emperor, to proclaim open the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games.
この方はご起立ください。天皇陛下より開会宣言を賜ります。
私はここに東京2020パラリンピック競技大会の開会を宣言します。
ご着席ください。
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic flag.
パラリンピックの入場です。
The performance is by the Para Ensemble.
演奏はパラ方の皆さんです。
An original piece called Ikuru, performed live here in 6 movements.
The Paralympic flag is carried by
パラリンピックハトマンスは
Canoe Japan,
カヌー日本
Seru Monica,
セルモニカさん
Swimming Japan,
水泳日本
Tanaka Uchu,
トンタ宇宙さん
Athletics Germany,
陸上ドイツ
Johannes Flores,
ヨハネス・フロースさん
Sitting Volleyball, Rwanda,
シットボレーボールルワンダ
Lillian Mukowangui,
リリアム・ムコクバカケリーさん
Equestrian, Singapore,
馬術シンガポール
Lorenzo Tan,
ローレンシャ・タンさん
Powerlifting, Colombia,
パワーリフティングコロンビア
Fabio Torres,
ファビオ・トーレスさん
6 athletes, all active Paralympians taking part in the games here, playing a pivotal role right now.
Being accompanied by the Para Ensemble. Many of these musicians also coming through the audition process.
The Paralympic flag is passed to essential workers from Tokyo who represent everyone around the world who has promised to provide support to those in need during COVID-19.
パラリンピック危機コロナ禍で助けに必要としている方を他人数支えてくれた方世界中の皆様の代表として東京のエッセンシャルワークの代表に受け渡されます
Recognition of the role played by essential workers and frontline workers over the last year and a half in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. One of the movements instruments in this piece of music incorporate sounds made by trees that are no longer there. They were uprooted in the Great East Japan earthquake in 2011. Just one of 70,000 pines still standing, the miracle pine. Members of the Defence Services take over as the Paralympic flag, the Jitos Centre, taken up to the flagpole to be flown high amongst the stand here above these Paralympians.
Mio Sakamoto on vocals there.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Paralympic anthem.
パラリンピック参加の演奏です。可能な方はご起立ください。
Stirring rendition of the Paralympic anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic oath.
パラリンピック宣誓。
The oath takers are
宣誓者は
Coach Taniguchi Yumiko, swimming.
水泳コーチ谷口由美香さん。
Athlete Kunieda Shingo, wheelchair tennis.
車椅子テニス選手国枝慎吾さん。
Athlete Murata Rie, goalball.
ゴールボール選手村田理恵さん。
Judge Azuma Noriyuki, wheelchair fencing.
車椅子フェンシング固定審判東信之さん。
A formal but important part of the oaths, I think, for the athletes, coaches, officials.
How important is this oath, Rob?
I think the further you get into your career, the more you think about things like that. Maybe the Paralympic rookies are so daunted by so many other things, they might not think about it until this moment, and then they hear it and think about it and dwell on it. But it's important. Fair play is important from all sides.
The athletes' oath dates back to 1920 in Antwerp in the Olympic Games. It's changed over the years. Updated in line with the International Paralympic Committee's commitment to inclusion and non-discrimination.
So for those who don't speak Japanese, what they were saying was in the name of the athletes, the judges, the coaches and officials, we promise to take part in these games, respecting and abiding by the rules in the spirit of fair play. Together we stand in solidarity, commit ourselves to sport without doping, without cheating, without any form of discrimination. We do this for the honour of our teams, in respect for the fundamental principles of Paralympism, and to make the world a better place through sport.
It's returned to the Para Airport, and little one-wing plane struggles to take flight.
She is reluctant to try.
It's an internal struggle.
This violin, a symbol of her internal struggle. Manami Ito is a former Paralympic swimmer and Japan's first ever nurse with a prosthetic arm. She only took up the violin after losing her right arm in a road accident.
Again, showing how technology can aid not only athletes, but in other areas of life.
So we've left the airport now.
She's meeting new friends.
This is the dazzling truck. And the didgeridoo is the voice of the truck.
She's intrigued.
And a little preview, we've got a guitar legend on the way. On top of the truck there is Gimiko, Japan's first amputee model.
Conversation continues. Here we go.
You may remember this is Battle Without Honor or Humanity, written and performed here by legendary Japanese guitarist Hotai. Wrote this for Quentin Tarantino's film Kill Bill. And he's written this piece specially for this Paralympic Games opening ceremony.
We can feel that through our seats in the stadium here.
It's all new to the little one-wing plane.
But ever she needed inspiration, this could do the trick.
Tagawa, composer guitarist, he holds his guitar like that because being vision impaired, he's never seen anybody play the guitar in the conventional way, so he does it his own way. Kawasaki Akihito, limited mobility in his fingers, but he plays the way he can with what he's got.
The ingenuity that's the hallmark of the Paralympic Games on and off the field.
Should also mention Aya Kono. She's playing bass, 17 years old from Osaka. doing things her way at her own pace, in her own words.
That's why we can feel it through the stadium. It's a 17-year-old playing.
Alongside a legend, a thumping rhythm.
I think the little one-wing plane is beginning to believe in herself. Maybe she just needs a little more help.
So essentially he's using a socket that you would use for an artificial leg without the foot attached, but with something on the bottom that looks like it's cushioned.
This is Kanbara Kenta, also an aerial performer, has congenital spina bifida and is known for his acrobatic dances. Omai Koichi. Continuing to dance after having his left leg amputated below the knee following a road accident.
Seeing the light and the possibility.
Something special here.
So the little one-wing plane has returned to the Para airport.
She's hearing, feeling the winds of change.
And her friends on the truck are there to help her.
It was dark and it's been lit up now. Can she fly? All her friends are with her to encourage her now.
Love this. Like a long jumper getting ready to take off.
Been a lot of work for our performer to get strong enough to make it down this runway. She's made it.
Have liftoff.
Thirteen-year-old Wago Yui had never performed before being picked out of the audition to take centre role in this performance.
I get the sense she'll be flying again soon.
What a star.
Absolutely remarkable. Beautifully told.
Pictures from Stoke Mandeville, where the first Paralympic Games was held, or the beginnings of the Paralympic movement.
As the flame lighting took place in Stoke Mandeville on the 12th of August. And it's been taken around 880 municipalities across all of Japan's 47 prefectures.
And everybody's been encouraged to light their own flame to add to the Paralympic torch. We also saw that the torch relay was carried out in groups of 3, which is a significant number for this movement and for this opening ceremony. The idea being that they were meeting new people for the first time.
And how the world needs to reconnect at this juncture.
You know, it's taken a lot of people to get here, but Dr. Ludwig Gutmann had some good ideas, didn't he?
Absolutely.
It was his idea to stage games to help servicemen returning from war. And on the day that the London Games of 1948 got underway, the first Paralympic Games, let's call it that, got underway at Stoke Mandeville. Not many sports you might recognise today. Should I say snooker? Dart, archery was on the schedule then.
Well, there are 22 sports and over 500 events, and medals to be contested over the next dozen days.
And if you take a good look at these beautiful torches, you'll see that there are 5 petals And if you look from the top, not when it's lit, I suggest, you'll see it looks like a cherry blossom flower.
Sun dancer. Rita Kazuo. Embodying the flame.
That saying, if you see it, then you can be it. And I feel like this ceremony opens eyes and hearts for people down the road that we might see in Paris, that we might see in Los Angeles, and might see in Brisbane.
Not only that, but performers,
That's what I mean.
musicians, everything. Yeah.
Not just athletes.
And not just at the Paralympic Games.
Everyone, please welcome the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic flame, gathered from South Maniville and all over various parts of Japan, now entering into the stadium.
皆さん、スタートのイベント、日本全国から集まった東京2020パラリンピック聖火が国立競技場に到着しました。
Paralympic champion, 3 silver medals, 5 bronze medals.
元々の選手、パラリンピック無駄回転賞、金メダルに銀メダル3、銅メダル5、おめでたく久美子さん。
Takeuchi Masahiko, Paralympic table tennis player, Paralympic champion, 1964 Tokyo Games.
元視覚障害者卓球選手。1960年東京大会金メダル竹内正彦さん。
Narita Mayumi, 5-time Paralympian in swimming, 15 times Paralympic champion, 3 silver medals, 2 bronze medals.
スイミング選手、パラリンピック無駄回転賞、金メダル15、銀メダル3、銅メダル2、成田真由美さん。
The Paralympic torch is made from recycled aluminium, originally used in the construction of prefabricated housing units in the aftermath of the Great East Japan earthquake. Transformation from housing units to torches is a symbol of peace and underlines the reconstruction efforts being made in the disaster-affected areas.
Sustainability, a big part of these games. The medals made from old cell phone parts.
The flame is passed on, and those torches, cherry pink, to match the blossoms that are so valued in Japan.
The Paralympic flame is passed to Nakamura Taro, medical doctor.
次にパラリンピック聖火をつなぐのは医師中村太郎さん。
Tamura Tamami, nurse.
看護師田村珠美さん。
Usui Fumio, prosthetist and orthotist.
技術操縦士臼井文夫さん。
Everybody wants a snapshot of this moment in time, this moment of history.
You mentioned the threes. 3 people again.
Three agitos.
The Paralympic flame is passed to Konishi Yui, Paralympian, bronze medalist in wheelchair tennis.
次にパラリンピック聖火をつなぐのはクリエイティブ選手パラリンピック銅メダリスト金井ケイスケ。
Uchida Shunsuke, boccia player.
ボッチャ選手内田俊介さん。
Morisaki Karen, para powerlifter.
パラパワーリフティング選手森崎かりんさん。
And the mood enhanced, the tension builds with this wonderful music. Kanaide dance, rearranged version by Klambon and Kirakai.
We have our Paralympic cauldron playing the part of the sun for so many elements of this opening ceremony. It now opens again, 5 petals. This cauldron opening up.
And in keeping with the sustainability theme, it'll be powered by hydrogen.
Final act of the opening ceremony, the Tokyo 2020 Summer Paralympic Games. The flame burns bright in Tokyo.
It's really happening.
There's an additional cauldron at the Ariake side of the Yume no Ohashi Bridge in Tokyo's waterfront area. That'll burn for the duration of the competition period as well. Final volley of spectacular fireworks over the Olympic Stadium heralds the conclusion of the opening ceremony. Just hours away from the start of competition here. When the world needs it most, the athletes will be amazing. They'll amaze us with their skill and strength, dazzle us with their brilliance, and leave us breathless at their fierce determination to succeed, regardless of the odds.
Think back to the words of the president of the International Paralympic Committee, Andrew Parsons. We want to use the platform of the Paralympic Games to create positive change that leads to a more inclusive society, not just in host cities, but around the world.
A wonderful sight at the end of a truly memorable evening here in the Olympic Stadium. A beautiful story told by some absolutely incredibly talented actors, amateurs and professional, inspiring us and inspiring the athletes. Hope you enjoyed it. The games are about to get underway in Tokyo's Summer Paralympics. Well, the flame will burn for the next 12 days. And the athletes will get ready to perform and achieve that greatness.
Thank you for coming to the opening ceremony of the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. We've enjoyed having you here tonight. Please have a safe trip home and enjoy the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games.
本日は東京2020パラリンピック開会式をご覧いただきまして誠にありがとうございました。皆様どうぞ気をつけておられください。そして
A little rain wasn't going to stop the fun in Tokyo. Not tonight.
That was just something special. It was a beautiful, emotional, not too much razzmatazz, but enough to get us all geared up and ready for the next 12 days.
Get us thinking as well. Inspiring, motivating, and truly memorable. Tokyo 2020 Summer Paralympics are officially open. Competition for 12 days is going to be extraordinary. Enjoy it, won't you?